Pandæmonium. Funny how one thought can lead to another. And when you are never quite sure whether it is a storyline, an idea, a conspiracy, or an actual lead to something quite fascinating, you follow it. This is one of those strange ideas that links itself together and I just follow it to an odd end. It began with a thought about a panda, of wondering why they only have them in China, or close to, and why they are the one animal always mentioned for its inability to breed without human intervention, claimed as something that would have gone extinct if we hadn't stepped in. I have known that for a long time, but didn't give it a second thought until today. Get ready for it to get a bit weird, as does happen in my meandering thoughts. What if pandas aren't natural at all, and never were? The idea went as follows. What if while China was shut off from the rest of the world from the 1400s through to the 1900s, as they say, and in that time an entire people replacement program happened? They say there is only a small percent of original Chinese left, of reprogramming and creating a perfect society, or maybe just for social experiments. My article Ghost City speculates slightly on one angle towards that which may tie in. I have also wondered about North and South Korea too, about how that also seems to be a strange experiment, realising that geographically it's easy to cut off the South, and have that be open to the world and experiences, with the strange and frightening stories that escape with one or two people from the North now and again. Nothing feels normal or right about that setup, like it's there for propaganda too, a scare tactic to the rest of the world to show how crazy someone can really get while being in charge of a country and millions of people. That by itself is an odd concept, made even more obvious of late with many rulers and leaders showing little or no concern for their subjects, treating people more like rats in a maze. So, could it well be that they cut off and separated that part of the mainland for future propaganda purposes? But what led me further into the idea I had was reading about pandas and how they are all owned by China. They have absolute ownership over all the giant pandas, making me wonder if they have been engineered, if not originally then more recently, to be as they are and appear docile and stupid. They give them as gifts to other countries and take them back when relations break down, being possible spies of sorts. That one does sound crazy, but that's where the thought went. Then I thought of all the imagery used with it, how it has been more in the mainstream than before, the WWF using it as their logo, which we should now know would be a cover, as with all the other three-letter acronyms used for global organisations. This one may have been the first major one to get underway, using animals as the target and subject matter, branching out into other areas and industries of control and conservation. There was also that weird part in the film Tropic Thunder around a panda. Probably nothing, but it came to mind. And if you have the stomach for it, there is also a thing apparently within the circles of child trafficking in which the panda being represented is quite prevalent. And then the thought moved on, to where the word came from, and another word sprang to mind, the title of this article, Pandæmonium. It got interesting thereafter as I wasn't familiar with John Milton's work Paradise Lost, which I recommend a read of the synopsis. But it is an intriguing story and layout of Adam and Eve, and of the fallen angels, the Garden of Eden, and hell, which made me think of now and where we are in the historical texts of time and occurrences. Firstly though, the word itself was coined by him. Pandæmonium, as the capital of hell is known in the epic poem, combines the Greek prefixes pan, meaning all, and the late Latin daemonium, meaning evil spirit. And of course, as the world is at a precipice of change and turmoil, it would be easy to see it as though we are in the Garden of Eden, and hell is currently trying to bring it down. That the new society of substances and conformity pushed on everyone is the apple, with Satan and his band of dark fallen angels creeping and circling, convincing and waiting. And funnily enough, in Milton's work, hell had a name which made me take notice as something similar has been popping up of late. Tartarus, which made me think of Tartaria, or Tartary, that rather vast unknown region back in the 1600s when he wrote that poem, or at least that is how it is marked on maps of the time. It is also claimed by some that many of the great ancient buildings we have were of Tartaria. Maybe there was indeed a time of gods, angels and demons here, and we are all that is left, with ruins and whispers of what once was, turning to myth and folklore and given a new timeline, which seems so very far away from your own. So, there was the giant leap from thinking of a panda as an animal to wondering if panda actually represents something else, of them working towards trying to change what was the Garden of Eden into a pandemonium hell, as that is where the demons are most comfortable.